20 shocking scandals R&B stars tried to hide. What if I told you that behind the silky voices and chart-topping R&B hits you love, there were secrets the stars fought desperately to keep hidden? Affairs they never wanted exposed. Explosive tempers that boiled over. Shocking arrests that threatened to end it all. And cover-ups so scandalous they nearly destroyed the very legacies these artists worked to build. Their music may have made history, but their scandals almost erased it. Brace yourself. Here are 20 jaw-dropping R&B scandals the stars prayed you'd never discover.
R. Kelly.
R. Kelly wasn't just a chart-topping R&B singer, he was a cultural giant. From timeless anthems like I Believe I Can Fly to the party staple Ignition remix, his music dominated airwaves and defined an era. But behind the glamour and the accolades, a much darker story was unfolding. For decades, whispers followed him, allegations of sexual abuse, many involving underage girls. Kelly used his fame, money, and legal power to dodge accountability, settling lawsuits, silencing accusers with non-disclosure agreements, and denying every charge. In 2002, a shocking video emerged allegedly showing him with a minor, yet after years of delays and courtroom tactics, he walked free in 2008. But the truth couldn't stay hidden forever. The release of the 2019 documentary series Surviving R. Kelly reignited public outrage, giving survivors a powerful platform and forcing the world to confront the abuse that had long been ignored. Soon after, Kelly was arrested and finally brought to justice. In 2021, his empire crumbled for good when he was sentenced to 31 years in prison on racketeering and sex trafficking charges. It was a stunning downfall for one of R&B's biggest stars, a cautionary tale of power, fame, and the devastating cost of unchecked abuse.
Chris Brown.
Chris Brown's career took a devastating hit in 2009 when he brutally assaulted his then-girlfriend, Rihanna, leaving her with injuries that the world could see and never forget. The shocking incident made global headlines, forcing Brown to plead guilty to felony assault. His punishment included probation, community service, and mandatory counseling, but the damage to his reputation was already done. And that was just the beginning. In the years that followed, Brown became entangled in a web of controversies, violent altercations, arrests, restraining orders, and explosive outbursts that kept his name in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. No matter how many chart-topping hits he released, his turbulent personal life continued to overshadow his music. Today, Chris Brown stands as one of the most polarizing figures in modern R&B. A man whose raw talent is undeniable, but whose volatile temper and constant run-ins with the law have made him as infamous for scandal as he is famous for music.
James Brown.
James Brown, the man hailed as the godfather of soul, left an imprint on music that can never be erased. His electrifying performances, raw energy, and pioneering sound reshaped the very foundation of R&B, funk, and soul. Yet, behind the stage lights and thunderous applause, Brown's personal life told a far darker story. Throughout his career, he faced repeated arrests on charges that ranged from drug possession to domestic violence and assault. Perhaps the most infamous moment came in 1988, when a domestic dispute with his wife escalated into a high-speed police chase that played out like a scene from a movie, except this one ended in a jail cell. Brown's unpredictable behavior and violent outbursts painted a picture of chaos that contrasted sharply with the precision and brilliance of his music. His troubled relationships, especially with women close to him, often landed him in scandal. For all his groundbreaking influence, James Brown's offstage life revealed a volatile, troubled man, proof that even legends carry shadows behind their shine.
Bobby Brown.
Bobby Brown's career was a constant tug-of-war between brilliance and chaos. As a former member of New Edition, he had the voice, the swagger, and the charisma to dominate the stage. But behind the music, his life spiraled into a storm of addiction, arrests, and trips in and out of rehab. His marriage to Whitney Houston became one of the most talked-about unions in entertainment, intense, volatile, and scarred by accusations of domestic violence and substance abuse. Brown's unpredictable behavior, public intoxication, run-ins with the law, and explosive outbursts often stole the spotlight from his talent. Despite his undeniable success in the late 80s and 90s, the headlines painted him less as an R&B superstar and more as a cautionary tale of self-destruction. In the end, Bobby Brown became known not only for the hits that once shook the charts but also for the personal demons that nearly consumed him.
Lauryn Hill.
Lauryn Hill was on top of the world, one of the most brilliant artists of her generation, blending hip-hop, soul, and poetry like no one else. But just as her career hit its peak, she vanished from the spotlight, leaving fans stunned and confused. The truth came out later. Hill was drowning in massive tax troubles. She owed millions to the IRS, and in 2013, she pleaded guilty to tax evasion. The judge sentenced her to 3 months behind bars, followed by probation and community service. For many, it was a heartbreaking fall from grace. Hill, who had once been celebrated as a groundbreaking voice of music and culture, now stood as a cautionary tale. Her legal battles pulled back the curtain on a harsh reality, that even the most gifted stars can be derailed not by a lack of talent, but by financial mismanagement and the unforgiving grip of the law.
Usher.
In 2017, Usher's world was rocked by a scandal that threatened to overshadow his superstar status. Allegations surfaced claiming the R&B icon had knowingly exposed multiple women to herpes without ever warning them. Reports even suggested that he had quietly paid out massive legal settlements to silence the accusations. Several women came forward, saying they contracted the virus after intimate encounters with the singer, igniting a media firestorm. Usher fiercely denied ever intentionally putting anyone at risk, but the damage was already done. The controversy cast a long shadow over his career, raising unsettling questions about responsibility, honesty, and transparency in the music industry. And while he continued to release music and perform, the whispers and headlines never fully went away. For many fans, the scandal became an unshakable footnote in Usher's legacy, a reminder that even the brightest stars can fall under the weight of secrets and accusations.
Lisa Lopez.
Lisa Left Eye Lopez, the wild spirit of TLC, nearly burned down more than just a house. She almost torched the group's career. In 1994, after a heated argument with her boyfriend, NFL star Andre Rison, Lopez set his Atlanta mansion ablaze. The fiery spectacle dominated headlines and put the entire group under a microscope. Charged with arson, she narrowly avoided prison time, receiving probation and community service instead. Still, the scandal piled even more pressure onto TLC, a group already battling the chaos of fame, financial troubles, and personal struggles. Left Eye's explosive act became one of the most shocking behind-the-scenes moments in R&B history, revealing just how volatile life could be inside one of the world's most successful girl groups.
Marvin Gaye.
Marvin Gaye's life was a storm of brilliance and heartbreak, a man whose musical genius was undeniable, yet whose private struggles often spilled tragically into the public eye. Among the most controversial chapters of his personal story was his relationship with Janice Hunter, a woman much younger than him when they first met. Their marriage was anything but harmonious, plagued by infidelity, emotional turmoil, and the shadows of substance abuse that haunted both their home and Marvin's career. Behind the velvet voice that defined an era, Marvin wrestled with crushing depression and addiction, demons that chipped away at his success and strained the bonds of family. But the darkest moment came in 1984, when the soul legend's life ended violently at the hands of his own father. During a heated confrontation in their family home, Marvin Gaye Sr., himself battling mental instability, shot and killed his son. Though the incident was later ruled justifiable homicide, the tragedy left the world stunned. In an instant, music lost one of its most influential voices, and the curtain was pulled back on the deep dysfunction and unhealed pain that Marvin carried until his final breath. His story remains a haunting reminder of the fragile line between genius and torment.
Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston's once-in-a-lifetime voice and dazzling global fame hid a painful truth: her long battle with addiction. In the 1980s and 90s, she was untouchable, breaking records, topping charts, and delivering unforgettable performances that made her a worldwide superstar. But behind the glamour, Whitney was fighting a war in private. Her struggles with drugs and alcohol deepened after her turbulent marriage to Bobby Brown, and soon whispers turned into headlines: erratic behavior, canceled concerts, and fractured relationships with those closest to her. Rehab stints offered brief hope, but the toll was undeniable. Her health weakened, and even her golden voice began to falter. Then came the heartbreaking end. In February 2012, Whitney Houston was found submerged in the bathtub of her Beverly Hills hotel room. The coroner ruled her death an accidental drowning, with heart disease and cocaine use as contributing factors. The revelation shattered fans worldwide. One of R&B's most beloved voices, once soaring with power and grace, was silenced by the weight of addiction. Her story remains a haunting reminder of how even the brightest stars can be consumed by the shadows they try so hard to hide.
Trey Songz.
Trey Songz, the R&B crooner celebrated for his silky vocals and passionate ballads, has long carried a reputation that goes beyond the spotlight. While his music paints him as a smooth storyteller of love and desire, his personal life has often been clouded by controversy. Over the years, multiple women have stepped forward with allegations ranging from assault to aggressive and inappropriate behavior during private encounters. Some of these accusations have led to lawsuits, cases quietly settled behind closed doors, while others remain fiercely disputed. Songz has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing, calling the claims exaggerated or outright false. Yet despite his efforts to brush off the scandals, the repeated headlines have cast a lingering shadow over his carefully crafted image. For every chart-topping hit and polished stage performance, questions about his behavior offstage continue to follow him. The tension between his public persona as a suave performer and the serious allegations behind the scenes has only deepened the scrutiny, leaving fans and critics alike to wonder, who is the real Trey Songz?
Erykah Badu.
Erykah Badu has never shied away from controversy, often drawing fire for her outspoken and sometimes bewildering takes on figures most of the world condemns. In 2019, during a concert in Chicago, she stunned the audience when she seemed to defend R. Kelly. What if one of the people who was assaulted by R. Kelly becomes an offender, she asked. We going to crucify them too? The comment landed like a spark in dry grass, igniting immediate outrage. Critics accused her of victim blaming and trivializing Kelly's crimes. Badu later took to Twitter to clarify, insisting she wasn't defending his actions but speaking about unconditional love and healing. But this wasn't the first time her words set off a storm. In an earlier interview, she shocked fans again by expressing sympathy for Adolf Hitler, calling him a wonderful painter, and trying to highlight the good in people who had committed atrocities. The backlash was swift and furious, forcing Badu to walk back her statements while many accused her of being dangerously tone-deaf to the horror of such crimes. For Badu, controversy has almost become a shadow companion, an artist constantly towing the line between speaking her truth and igniting public outrage.
D'Angelo.
D'Angelo wasn't just another R&B singer. He was hailed as the future of soul in the late 90s and early 2000s, with a voice that melted hearts and a groundbreaking masterpiece in voodoo. At the peak of his fame, though, he did something unthinkable. He vanished.
No tours.
No new music.
Just silence.
For years, fans and critics speculated. Whispers of industry feuds, creative burnout, even paranoia floated around. But the truth, when D'Angelo finally revealed it, was far darker. He was drowning in alcoholism and depression, demons so heavy they nearly took his life. In 2005, he survived a near-fatal car crash, a terrifying wake-up call that forced him to confront his addiction and fragile state of mind. The road back was long and brutal. While rumors swirled in his absence, D'Angelo was quietly fighting for his life, clawing his way through recovery and reflection. Nearly a decade later, in 2014, he re-emerged with Black Messiah, an album so raw, powerful, and timely that it reminded the world why he was once crowned the savior of R&B. His comeback was triumphant, but behind every note was the weight of personal battles that almost destroyed him. D'Angelo's story isn't just about music, it's about survival, resilience, and the high price of genius.
Ciara and Future.
Ciara and Future's breakup wasn't just another celebrity split, it was a storm that spilled far beyond their love life. What started as the end of a high-profile romance quickly turned into a bitter custody war over their young son. Ciara accused Future of being an unfit parent, blasting his lifestyle and parenting choices in public. Future fired back with sharp words of his own, and soon their private battle exploded across courtrooms and social media for the world to see. The custody hearings uncovered tense confrontations and claims of neglect and irresponsibility that clashed sharply with the glamorous image they once shared as a power couple. Instead of red carpets and hit records, the headlines became dominated by legal filings, angry tweets, and heartbreaking family drama. Their story, once a picture-perfect celebrity romance, unraveled into tabloid chaos, leaving fans to witness how love, fame, and parenthood collided in the harshest possible spotlight.
Genuine.
Genuine, the R&B superstar who set the world on fire with hits like Pony, was hiding battles that no one saw from the spotlight. Behind the fame, fortune, and screaming fans, he quietly wrestled with addiction. Struggles that chipped away at both his health and his career. Even more shocking, despite his massive commercial success, Genuine faced financial hardships that left fans stunned once the truth surfaced. For years, he kept these demons locked away, maintaining a polished image while the turmoil raged behind the curtain. It wasn't until candid interviews and later reports pulled back the veil that the world discovered the weight he had carried. The revelation exposed a side of Genuine that stood in stark contrast to the confident performer we saw on stage. A man fighting personal battles in silence while giving his all to the music.
Kelis.
Kelis stunned the music world when she later revealed that her marriage to rapper Nas had been scarred by physical abuse. Once celebrated as one of hip-hop and R&B's power couples, the two had carefully hidden the darker truths of their relationship from the public eye. In her candid account, Kelis described painful episodes of violence and emotional chaos during their marriage, which spanned from 2005 to 2010. Her shocking disclosure shattered the image fans had long held of the pair, who had only ever been seen through polished performances and chart-topping collaborations. By bravely lifting the veil, Kelis drew attention to the silent battles so many women in high-profile relationships endure behind closed doors. Her voice not only shook fans of both artists but also forced the world to confront the harsh realities that can hide beneath the glitter of fame.
Mary J. Blige.
Mary J. Blige's personal life was shaken to its core during her painful divorce, a chapter filled with heartbreak, financial strain, and emotional turmoil that she fought hard to keep out of the public eye. The split left her burdened with staggering alimony payments and staring down the threat of bankruptcy, even as she continued to step on stage and give fans everything she had. Behind the scenes, Blige was battling to balance the crushing financial fallout with the demands of her career, a struggle that weighed heavily on her spirit and her artistry. Yet through it all, the queen of hip-hop soul never wavered in her dedication to music. She poured her pain into her songs, turning private agony into anthems of resilience and survival. Her divorce exposed the often unseen truth of celebrity life, that dazzling success under the spotlight doesn't always equal stability once the curtain falls. For Blige, the hardship became both a test of endurance and a reminder of her unshakable power to rise above the storm.
I'll be sure. I'll be sure.
Found himself swept into controversy after the tragic death of Kim Porter, the longtime partner of Sean Diddy Combs. Not long after her passing, members of Quincy Jones's family pointed fingers at I'll be sure, accusing him of holding back crucial information about Porter's health. Their claims ignited a storm of conspiracy theories and public backlash, with whispers suggesting he may have known more than he ever let on. The accusations raised unsettling questions about honesty, accountability, and what really happened in Porter's final days. Tensions flared within her inner circle, and rumors quickly spread, further complicating an already heartbreaking loss. What had once been a career defined by smooth R&B ballads and respected production work was suddenly overshadowed by scandal, leaving I'll be sure caught in the crossfire of suspicion and sorrow.
Tevin Campbell.
Tevin Campbell's once bright career took a devastating turn in the late 1990s when he was arrested for soliciting a male undercover officer. The shocking news sent ripples through the music world, blindsiding fans who had watched him rise with hit after hit. At a time when the industry and society was far less forgiving, the scandal sparked a wave of backlash that shattered his carefully built image. Instead of riding the momentum of his talent, Campbell found himself retreating from the spotlight, burdened by stigma and judgment. In an era marked by conservatism, the fallout was brutal, and no matter how gifted he was, his career never fully recovered. For years, he remained on the sidelines, quietly battling the shadow of that moment and the damage it left on his public identity.
Brandy.
Brandy Norwood's career was shaken in 2006 when she became involved in a tragic car accident that claimed the life of another woman. Though she was never charged with a crime, the incident cast a long shadow over her image and haunted her for years. The crash happened when Brandy's vehicle collided with another car, fatally injuring a passenger inside. What followed was a storm of grief, guilt, and relentless media attention. For Brandy, the emotional toll was immense. She continued to make music and appear on screen, but the tragedy remained a dark chapter she could never fully close. Fans saw her strength, but behind the scenes, she struggled with a burden few could imagine. The accident became a painful reminder of how one moment, one twist of fate, can change a life forever, even for a beloved star at the height of her career.
Tyrese Gibson.
Tyrese Gibson, the R&B crooner who seamlessly crossed over into Hollywood, has seen his image unravel in recent years. Once celebrated for smooth ballads that defined an era of love songs, Gibson has instead become just as well known for social media meltdowns, explosive rants, and bitter courtroom battles. His once polished public persona now clashes with viral tirades that often pit him against fellow celebrities, fans, and even the press. Adding fuel to the fire, Tyrese's highly public custody disputes and child support battles have played out in front of millions, leaving nothing to the imagination. These struggles, raw, messy, and painfully public, have revealed a side of the star that feels worlds away from the charming voice fans first fell in love with. And with that, we wrap up 20 scandals that some of R&B's biggest names wished had stayed hidden. Their music may have filled our lives with rhythm and romance, but behind the stage lights, the drama hit just as hard. Fame, fortune, and raw talent couldn't bury every secret forever. Which one shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you crave more untold stories from the world of music legends, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap that bell icon so you're always first in line for the next reveal. Thanks for watching.